Hello and welcome to the Feminine Success Secrets channel. In this week's episode, I'm going to give you 3 secrets on how to be successful and feminine. Stay tuned. Unconsciously, we have come to equate the word success, the concept of success as women, with being in our masculine. The world around us, our very training taught us that masculine values are more powerful, more successful, and more valuable than feminine values. And so this is actually why I sort of created the Feminine Success Secrets channel, is to challenge the concept around success as a woman being only from the masculine polarity, our masculine side. Look at Hillary Clinton, for example. She may be a woman, but she ain't feminine. Now, I admire her success, but she has done it completely from her masculine, and she is in a world of masculine values. And that's what it takes to get to the top of that world, I understand. You don't have to do that all the time. You don't have to always be in the masculine. You know about me in my world. I'm not here to say we cut off the masculine. That doesn't make sense. You've probably already become very successful from using your masculine know-how, and there is nothing wrong with that. But we've got this whole arena of feminine know-how, of feminine ways of being, communicating, operating, thinking, being, that when we apply that to our business life, we apply that to our success, a whole new world is going to open up to you. Now, I do full-length trainings on what I call the feminine arts. I said that in American for the Americans here, otherwise they don't know what the word is. Feminine arts. The feminine arts are a relearning of something different than the martial arts or the masculine arts, or the masculine values. There's a relearning of feminine arts that is important for us as women. And then suddenly we have this whole scope and this whole perspective that we can operate from life from. But here today, I want to give you 3 tips on how to be successful and feminine. Now, the first tip has to be, you have to value what feminine is. Now, feminine values, feminine things, feminine essence is desperately, desperately needed by the world around us. Look at where the world is today. It is desperately needing values of community, of unity, of nurturing, of encouragement, of building together. These are some feminine values, and without them, the world around us is suffering. Now, without it, you are suffering. So when you apply those things to yourself, when you're trying to be a lone wolf, when you're working hard and constantly by yourself, where you're stressing yourself out, you have an endless to-do list, where you're under overwhelm all of the time and you're never giving yourself breaks and out-breath and space to digest all of this onslaught of data and information, you are not valuing the feminine in yourself. So that's where it starts. This is our number 1 tip. Tip number 2, be aware of how you start things. What I mean by that is, when we start a new project or a new segment of a project or just a new thing, we start a new impulse, we start a momentum, right? Now, sometimes we need a bit of oomph to get momentum going. But if you were to start the momentum with this sort of angle of stress and tightening and pushing and striving and fighting, you're starting it from the masculine way of doing things. So you need to be cognizant, you need to be aware of how you are starting things. Put intention into the way in which you are going to do this project, the way in which you're going to communicate with your team, the way in which you're going to build a tribe or community, the way in which you're going to talk to partners and joint venture partners and build things, right? So there is an intention of bringing the feminine into the very fabric of the timeline of your success. I've done a whole video on being the difference between being spermy or masculine and the difference between being eggy, which is being in your feminine. I suggest you jump on down and have a look at that. I've put a link here in this video so you can go and check that one out. So think of how you start and initiate things. And it's not just projects in business, it's also communications, right? You can apply this if you needed to have an uncomfortable discussion with your partner or your children. How can I apply this? How can I bring the feminine to this discussion? And the third tip for how to be feminine and successful: receptivity. This is such a key core component of feminine know-how and understanding. We go out there, if you think about it, we put so much love and effort and care into the things around us, into our work and our business and our family and our tribe and our community. And if you don't give yourself space to let there be a return back to you, then things often don't take much traction, or things are always being squeezed and tightly held. I love to use this metaphor that the tide goes out in the ocean and the tide comes back in. And it goes out and it comes back in equal proportions, whereas a lot of the time people do like 95% effort and exertion and doing and thinking and acting and strategizing, and if they're lucky they give 5% to the return, right? This, I think you get, is not sustainable on your energy anyway. But if you want to experience success whilst being your feminine, you have to give that space, and let's call it at least 50%, for the tide to come back in, for there to be a return of your efforts into you. And this portends to practically where cash flows into you, where clients flow into you, where, offers come to you, ideas, offers to speak or to do other things in such a way that you are building a sense of momentum through receptivity. Now, I've done a lot of talking about this in my trainings here on the Feminine Success Secrets channel. When we go into that receptivity, the out breath, we're so used to doing, acting, that we believe nothing's happening. You have to put this into practice to experience that this is not a active period. It's a different type of action. Receptivity is an active principle of allowing things to come into you and toward you. This applies to business, to success, and relationships as another tip. Now, I would love you to put your comments below. If you haven't already subscribed, I would love you to subscribe to my channel. I'm very active here, so if you have any questions, please put them below. And remember, when you have courage to go out there and shine, you give others permission to do the same. So let's go out there and shine this week. Bye-bye for now.